So the first thing that I'm going to ask you is, what would your business look like if you had too many people to call? I couldn't call all 550 leads that I had for this push, by the way. And those are only the ones that I wanted to call. Okay. Let me ask you this. What would that feel like? You only saw people that you wanted to actually see for an appointment. How awesome would that feeling be? If every single day you woke up and you said, oh my gosh, I have 5 Mrs. Joneses that I'm excited to see, what would your push look like? What would your summer look like? What would your time selling Cutco look like? And best of all, who could you meet that you could springboard your life forward with if you were excited to see almost every single appointment that you ever did because they were a business owner, decision maker, a legislator, a sports star, something like that. I don't really talk about this much, but the stuff that I'm going to teach at the very end of the talk, I've sold to, the Lieutenant Governor of Texas when he was in office, Lance Berkman. I just got referred to Andy Pettit twice this past week. All the private equity guys in Houston. I don't say this to brag, it's just literally the things I'm going to teach you at the end or how I got in front of those kind of people. A couple of thoughts real quick. Growing a business is about tracking your stats, right? You can't improve something unless you make it better. And so when we all look at like getting more referrals, I think it starts with being intentional and kind of visualizing, right? So give me a couple of numbers of how many referrals you'd like to average. 100? 20, okay? Somebody else.
Per appointment?
Yeah, per appointment average.
200.
30, right? So let me ask you this, guys. If it's an average, you have to ask for more or less than you want to get. More, right? And we all know this. But how do we actually implement that? Does every single person actually ask for more referrals than what they want to get? Okay. If I want to get 10, I'm cool with 10. I'll be honest. So I highlight a line at 15, right? As far as ways to grow your business, right? Fundamentally, there's 3 ways. Our business breaks into phoning, recs, and closing. I'm going to talk about recs. Jonathan's about to talk about phoning. You can build a rocking business by either closing more, by closing at a higher percentage, or being in front of more people to close on, right? Well, if you have more people to call that are more qualified, do you think that you can sell more to them and close at a higher ratio? Seems like a pretty great way to build your business quickly, right? It all starts with a foundation, though. You're looking at somebody that is a student sold Cutco for 5 years. I didn't start like this, right? So, foundation. Anybody want to recite their recommendation approach from line 16? As in everybody's single manual? Anybody want to come do it? Anybody? This is Brandon. So thank you, Brandon.
Thank you very much. So James, how'd you like my demo?
That was great, Brandon. Loved
awesome.
It.
You can pull up your phone right now.
All right.
There's another very important part. Here's where you can really help me out. Now while I'm painting, you can jot down 100 to 200 names. Nice people like yourself. Not people who buy, just people to take a look. Now you don't have to do 100 to 200. 10 to 20 is just fine. But I always ruin this part. I always forget that part, but that's good enough right now. No, it's not.
So Brandon, how many referrals do you get on average? Do you know?
Not as much as I want. I get about 8.
You seem pretty confident on it. Keep working on it. It's almost there, right?
I mean, Jordan's been getting on to me every single time. That's
that phoning, closing, and recs, right? Yep. That's the things all of our managers always. So I haven't gone from a manual in a really long time, but if any of y'all have your manual, I want to kind of follow along. At the end of the day, it's just like, hey, Mrs. Jones, cool, there's the whole presentation. How was it? Cool. Well, hey, just like Amanda introduced us, I'm not allowed to go door to door or make cold calls. So what she just did was jotted down 15 to 20 people. They don't need to buy anything, just nice enough to kind of help me out. I'll be working on your quote and we'll finish about the same time. Simple, hits all the points, confident, down to earth, everybody does it. And then I'm going to teach you. If somebody puts a pen in your hand, what are you going to do with it? Write. You don't have a pen in your hand. Can you write? No. Awesome. Luciana? All right. So Luciana, blah, 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 record approach. So I'm going to work on the quote. We're going to finish at the same time. Here you go. What do you think Luciana's going to do? Right. Okay. Now, something I used to do when I was younger, you don't necessarily have to do this, but it's kind of cool. How do you put a pen in their hand? Watch this. So I'm going to work on this quote for you, and we'll finish about the same time. Here you go. You kind of tilt your notepad, roll down it, and then instinctively reach the grab for it. Okay? Just a little trick if you want to try that sometime, just for some fun. So master the fundamentals, right? Page 16. Jeffrey Gitomer says the best salespeople use the best scripts, right? We have a script. Use it. I promise it works. I'm going to give you kind of the structure of some key points of how to get more referrals. So there's going to be 4 things. How many? 4. Okay, first one. You're going to want to print your customer list and learn to have a favorite story to tell about it. Point 2 is in your goal sharing. Point 3, as dumb as this sounds, is literally just asking with your page secret. And the 4th step is going to be thought joggers, which I'm going to come to at the end, and that's where we'll do the all-star referral part. So the first thing, I don't think everybody's going to be able to see this from here, but just so y'all can kind of see. It starts with rapport, right? Like, they've got to kind of like you at first. And so I just printed pictures, right? So Mrs. Jones, on every single appointment, sees my story. So this is my blue book that I use for the push. There's pictures of me. Thing is my customer list, right? And my goals. And so I've taken the highlights of all the really well-known people in Houston that I've sold to, and I just show them. I do it in a very low-key manner of, hey, here's the scholarship that we won. We actually finished number 2 nationally last summer. And here's some of my Cutco family that's helped me over the years. Who do you know on it? I just put it there, right? And it's by the different parts of Houston who all I've sold to. And they just kind of have fun, right? They look there and they go, oh, I know her, whatever. And what's cool is focus on those 1 or 2. Be like, hey, how do you know Jenny, by the way? And often when you get into the right networks, what you'll find is that they know their kids through the private school networks. And people know more people like themselves, right? So if you want to meet a bunch of people like your top customers, learn to ask for more people like your top customers, right? So you just kind of have fun with it. And so, for example, my favorite story is the St. Francis family. A gal named Adrian Cutter. It's really cool because my sister babysat for Adrian. Adrian referred me to 20 people, almost all St. Francis. One of those 20 ladies referred me to another 20. And literally to this day, I just got a text 3 years later from Susan McGee, Adrian Cutter's friend, and said, hey, I just realized your youngest sister is my daughter's swim coach. How's that for becoming friends with your customers that are tied into your goals of who you are and where you're going, right? It's kind of cool, but like that's rapport. When people like you, trust you, want to help you, referrals come with us. All part of building good rapport. So that's kind of the first part of the notes on here. After rapport, you know, as you're kind of building rapport, you're like, so how do you know them? Maybe it's like the tennis game, right? What I've really tried to do is make all of my questions in my appointment very intentional so that they tie into other parts, right? So how long have you been here? How long have you lived in Westview? Oh, you just moved. Awesome, cool. So you don't really know too many of the neighbors then? Oh, that's fair. Where'd y'all move from, by the way? Because when I get to referrals, if they move from Memorial, I'm not going to ask for their neighbors on the street, right? I'm going to ask for people in Memorial. Be like, hey, by the way, who are y'all friends with in Memorial? I know this is a referrals talk, but it's like, go like to cook in the report stage early in the demo. Go like to cook. You kind of cook because you have to. Well, if they really like to cook, I'm going to show them the bigger section, right? So it's just having those intentional questions that you ask all the time. For as far as recommendations, just ask them like, hey, how do you know their friend? Like Mike was saying, 5 questions deep. Cool. How long have y'all been friends for? And then just go wherever the conversation starts. If it's the tennis team, make sure you ask for more members of the tennis team. If it's the kids' school, ask for more people from the kids' school. Just being intentional and knowing kind of what you want, right? So as far as my appointment goes, once the rapport is kind of built, they're looking through who else they know. I kind of told them how I finished last summer's scholarship. I always laugh. I go, hey, Jenny, by the way, if you finish number 2, what's left? They always say number 1, right? So my personal goal is to finish number 1 this summer. And I go, but what's funny is today, it's actually not that you like want one of everything or buy everything Cutco because it's way too expensive just to be nice. It's not Girl Scout cookies, right? But Jenny, my goal today is actually just that you like me enough that you can introduce me to a few more friends, just like Cody did. But we'll do that at the end. Sound good? Raise your hand if you've ever had that appointment where you're like, oh yeah, one more important part. And she's like, wait, now I have to give you more names. And you like catch her off guard and she's like, absolutely not, no done. Right? Raise your hand if that's ever happened. If you told her at the very beginning that your biggest goal today was that she can introduce you to a couple more people, do you think you'll ever surprise her again when you ask for names at the end of the appointment? No, right? So it's just planting that seed. As far as when you go to ask for referrals, like it's a KISS method, right? Keep it simple, stupid. Like simple approach, very confident. Everybody does it. Put a pen in their hand. Go clean your knives. Like as funny as it sounds, act like nobody else is in that room. Like you go clean your knives, do whatever you need to do, wash them off. Like, but leave Mrs. Jones at that table giving you referrals while you're doing whatever else. Because as soon as you're done, she's done. So if you're like, don't acknowledge that and like don't make eye contact, like she's gonna keep writing because she has a pen in her hand and that's a natural thing to do. We talked about the averages. I've got my rec book here. I don't think we're gonna be able to see it from the stage. Maybe you'll be able to see highlighted lines. Ask your division manager or your district manager if you don't have them. Let's see if I can find anything. Everybody see the highlights here? Last thing it said, so I put a little smiley face here at 15, because that's what I want to average or get to. And then at 30, I have another highlight that says, ask how you can win free Cutco. You can literally get free peelers from your managers. Talk to your managers about how to get those. But if somebody gives me 30 referrals, I'm probably going to give them some free Cutco, or at least bribe them to get to 30 if it's like a really good customer that I want to see a lot of their friends. And then just kind of a rhetorical question. If y'all had one person you could sell Cutco to in the whole world, or realistically like in the area that you sell to, who would it be? You had one person that was like your target. JJ Watt. I know who I'm asking to introduce me to JJ Watt next Thursday. I have that appointment booked already. Just being intentional, right? Not saying I'm going to get it, but I know who I want to meet, right? So as far as selling to some of these rock stars, you have to ask for who you want to meet. No one's just going to be like, oh yeah, I'm friends with JJ Watt. Here, let me give you his number. I'm going to have to ask for that. And I'm going to have to ask a lot of people for that. But I'm going to get it. It's just a matter of time. So like your ideal customer, like you know your rock star customer that you want to sell to, Your ideal customer, who are they? They're probably a 35 to 50-year-old married couple, 2 to 4 kids, right? So if that's your ideal customer, without directly asking for that, you kind of need to hint that that's who you'd like to see, right? So that's the tennis team, the golf team, whoever the kids go to school with, right? And more people know people like themselves. So if you're with an awesome like Star Mac customer, casually ask for those kind of things. So your ideal customer, how many kids do they have? Where do the kids go to school? What does your ideal customer do for a living? And how often do they entertain? There's some 4 super easy thought joggers to get in front of your ideal customer, right? You want people to keep their pins right. If you're over there, you're cleaning your knives, you may be sharpening their knives still, and they're giving you a referral. You want to kind of watch and you understand that they're done, right? That the pin's still in their hand, and they're not done, they're just done with their immediate lift. By the way, Jamie, I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for that support. I was just kind of curious, just to have fun with this. There's a couple of people I wanted to meet. Who all do you know, so not do you know, but who do you know that has 3 or 4 kids? Boom. That'll be 1 or 2 more leads. Good leads, right? But by the way, who else do you know that has kids at whichever schools that you want to kind of sell it, right? By the way, I really want into oil and gas. Who do you know that's in oil and gas? Actually, even better, Jamie, I'd really like to run my own oil and gas company. Who do you know that has their own that could give me a career advice? You think that's a money customer that's really good for my future career when I graduate if I don't stay with Cutco? I'm knocking both birds out with one stone. Oh my gosh, Mr. Jones, these cheese knives, that little petite Sentoku, like our grater sets are awesome for people to entertain. Which ones are your friends throw the best parties? Who do you know that entertains so much? So simple, so casual, 4 easy ways to get amazing referrals, right? Moving down quickly, we've got the note like name drop, right? Come full circle at the end with the conversations that you built your rapport with. That's what I was saying about like asking for the rest of the tennis team or however you kind of met their friend. Last thing I have is getting a hold of these people. I've called people off and on for like 1.5 years before I got in front of them, right? It's like being pleasantly persistent. It's really hard to cold call a famous person that doesn't own Cutco and has never heard of it. So if you have their friend reach out for you, especially on these high-level contacts, Mrs. Jones, like if you could just send a quick text that you can actually copy and paste that I'll send to you, would you be willing to send that, please? It's just way easier when people hear from you so that they actually know that I know you. Because let's be honest, selling knives to pay for school is a little bit hard. And people get it, right? And so I put that text down there at the bottom. Make it yours. Try not to mention the Cutco's knives. Just say Cutco. And that should really help you. A, it'll make your phone time way easier. B, it'll really help you get in with some of those bigger names. And then the last thing, on the front of the first page, I always try to get my email address if y'all have any questions. I'll have a roundtable later, but it's airforceknives@gmail.com. Thanks for your time.
By the way, if you're not taking notes, you're absolutely crazy. I don't even know. Do not take notes. Okay, cool. So now, next up, we have Mr. Jonathan Schmitz from the College Station office. And, yeah, C-Stack. Yeah, he's going to be giving you a talk on phoning for success. And Jonathan started 5.5 years ago. He's at $330,000 in career sales. That's probably been adjusted since the push is finished. Oh, now he's at $350,000. Damn, that's high. So he sold $225,000 in the past 12 months, around 10 separate trips. He's committed to Cutco full time. His biggest push ever is $30,556. His biggest order is 4,500, and yesterday he had his biggest day in his career, which was over 5,800. So $5,800 day. He's awesome on the phones. I've heard him on the phone before. He's going to give you some quick tips on phoning. Please bring him up, Mr. Jonathan Schmitz. And don't give him a sad clap. How about a happy clap? We got some sad clappers.